The grand halls of ancient palaces hold more than just opulence and splendor. They guard secrets behind their very walls. Behind those towering columns and gilded ceilings lie hidden chambers, each one a silent witness to the intrigues, treasures, and untold stories of the past. What if I told you some of these concealed rooms were designed not just for secrecy, but for survival? One wrong step in a royal court could mean disaster, and these hidden spaces were the ultimate insurance policy for kings, queens, and conspirators alike. Today, we're pulling back the tapestries and unlocking doors long forgotten, revealing 20 of the most astonishing hidden chambers ever discovered in ancient palaces. Some held unimaginable riches, others served as covert meeting places for clandestine plots, and a few might still be hiding artifacts that could rewrite history. How were they built without detection? Who knew their locations? And who took those secrets to the grave? This isn't just a tour of hidden rooms. It's a journey into the minds of the rulers and architects who crafted these ingenious spaces. By the time we're done, you'll never look at an ancient palace the same way again. Beneath the windswept ruins of Persepolis, one of history's greatest mysteries still lingers in the shadows. When archaeologists first uncovered a sealed chamber beneath the royal complex, the faded carvings on its walls told a tantalizing story. This was no ordinary storage room. Every inch of the stonework whispered of wealth beyond imagination, a treasury designed to safeguard the empire's gold, jewels, and tribute from conquered lands. Yet when researchers breached its entrance, they found only echoes of grandeur. So where did the treasures go? The most compelling theory points to Alexander the Great's invasion in 330 BC. Historical accounts describe the burning of Persepolis as a deliberate act of vengeance, but what if the real prize wasn't the palace above, but the vault below? Some scholars argue Alexander's soldiers emptied the chamber before the flames spread, funneling Persia's riches into their own coffers. Others, though, aren't so convinced. A handful of tantalizing clues: a blocked passageway here, an unbroken seal there, hint that part of the treasury might still lie hidden, waiting to be found. What makes this chamber so extraordinary isn't just its missing gold, but what it reveals about Persia's ingenuity. The architects didn't just hide wealth, they designed a labyrinth of false walls and decoy rooms to mislead thieves. Even the carving served a purpose, mapping out the empire's reach as a silent display of power. Yet in the end, none of it could stop the tide of history. Whether looted or still lying in wait, this lost treasury forces us to confront a haunting truth. Even the mightiest empires are just one conquest away from becoming whispers in the dust. Beneath the sunken remnants of Alexandria's royal palace, whispers of Cleopatra's legendary cunning still echo through a shadowy labyrinth. Archaeologists tracing the contours of this submerged complex uncovered something astonishing: a narrow, winding passageway hidden behind false panels, its walls etched with the sacred symbols of the goddess Isis. This wasn't just a corridor, it was a lifeline, a secret escape route designed for a queen who knew the precariousness of power. Political storms raged throughout Cleopatra's reign, and this tunnel may have been her ultimate contingency plan. Imagine the scene, torches flickering against carved hieroglyphs as the queen and her most trusted advisors slipped through these passageways, evading assassins or rival factions. But here's where the mystery thickens. Some scholars believe this chamber wasn't merely pragmatic. The pervasive imagery of Isis, Egypt's divine protector, suggests it also served as a sacred space, perhaps where Cleopatra sought guidance, or even staged her final act of defiance. Modern divers and researchers still painstakingly chart these submerged halls, each new discovery raising more questions. Was this tunnel's true purpose purely practical, or did it hold rituals, treasures, or even evidence of the queen's fate? The symbols, the strategic location, every detail feels like a deliberate clue left by history's most enigmatic ruler. One thing is certain, Cleopatra understood that survival required more than wit or wealth. It demanded secrets carved in stone, deep beneath the glittering halls of Versailles, where courtiers once schemed under crystal chandeliers. A far darker secret lies buried. In the palace's shadowed underbelly, hidden beneath tangled vines and forgotten pathways, a crypt remains stubbornly sealed, its iron-bound door resisting every modern attempt to pry it open. This isn't just some forgotten storeroom. The very air around it seems thick with whispers of the occult, of midnight gatherings, and of a tragedy that haunted France for generations. At the heart of the mystery is the fate of Louis XVII, the young dauphin who vanished during the Revolution. Officially, he died in prison, but persistent rumors suggest his remains were smuggled to Versailles, interred in this crypt by royalists clinging to a lost dynasty. Yet the chamber's eerie reputation runs deeper. Symbols carved near its entrance, barely visible beneath centuries of grime, mirror those used by secret societies like the Freemasons. Was this a sanctuary for exiled nobles or something far more sinister? Historians remain divided. Some argue the crypt was merely a private chapel sealed out of respect. Others point to accounts from servants who spoke of strange chanting echoing through the gardens at night. Even today, the French government restricts access, citing structural concerns, an explanation that only fans the flames of speculation. What truths lie behind that rusted gate? Until the crypt yields its secrets, Versailles' grandeur will always have this chilling footnote, a ghost of history waiting silently in the dark. Beneath the vermilion walls and golden rooftops of Beijing's Forbidden City, where emperors once ruled as sons of heaven, modern technology has uncovered something straight out of myth. Ground-penetrating radar recently detected a mysterious void deep below the palace complex, an echo of ancient tales that speak of a hidden chamber watched over by celestial dragons. This isn't just another forgotten storeroom. The precision of its construction, aligned perfectly with key astrological symbols, hints at a space meant for something far more profound than mere storage. Legends whispered for centuries described a dragon-guarded vault, a place where only the emperor could tread, perhaps to commune with cosmic forces or safeguard treasures beyond mortal reach. The radar data adds weight to these stories, revealing a chamber deliberately positioned beneath the Hall of Supreme Harmony, the very heart of imperial power. Was this a treasury for rare jades and sacred texts, a prison for rivals deemed too dangerous to see daylight, or, as some scholars argue, a secret altar where the emperor performed rituals to maintain his divine mandate? What makes this discovery so electrifying is how it blurs the line between myth and reality. The Forbidden City's layout mirrors the constellations, with the emperor's throne representing the North Star. This hidden chamber sits at a precise celestial intersection, suggesting it may have been part of an elaborate cosmic blueprint, a physical anchor for the emperor's claim to rule by heavenly decree. Yet despite the scans, no one has entered it. The Chinese government keeps the site closely guarded, leaving historians to wonder. If those dragon carvings adorning the palace gates are merely symbolic, what truly lies waiting in the dark beneath them? Among the gilded splendor of Vienna's Schönbrunn Palace, there's a ghost not of a person but of a room. Archivists poring over centuries-old blueprints stumbled upon detailed plans for a lavish ballroom, complete with crystal chandeliers and mirrored walls that simply doesn't appear in any modern floor plans. It's as if the architects left behind a riddle wrapped in parchment, a space designed for grandeur now vanished without a trace. The timing of its disappearance is what makes this mystery so tantalizing. The ballroom's design matches eyewitness accounts of secret gatherings hosted by Marie Antoinette during her visits from France, gilded evenings where nobles mingled under the guise of entertainment, all while shaping political schemes beneath the music's cover. Was this room dismantled to erase evidence of Habsburg intrigues after her downfall? Or is it still concealed behind layers of plaster and illusion, a silent monument to the palace's best-kept secrets? Some historians argue the ballroom was intentionally erased, its very existence too dangerous in the turbulent aftermath of the French Revolution. Others point to faint anomalies in the palace's acoustics and wall thickness, suggesting hidden cavities waiting to be revealed. Even more intriguing are the whispers of servants' journals describing a hall of reflections, accessible only through a disguised door in the Imperial apartments. This phantom chamber forces us to reconsider how power operated in plain sight. While Schönbrunn's public spaces dazzled with ceremony, its hidden ballroom may have been where real decisions were made, where alliances formed and plots unfolded just steps away from oblivious guests. Until someone uncovers its physical remains, we're left with an architectural echo, reminding us that history's most consequential moments often happened where no one was meant to look. Tucked away in the labyrinthine depths of Istanbul's Topkapi Palace, where sultans once commanded empires, there's a room that defies logic. The air here still carries a faint, acrid scent, centuries-old residue from fires that refuse to die. This wasn't a place for politics or prayer. Shelves sag under the weight of alembics and copper coils, while walls bear the ghostly imprints of symbols scrubbed raw by frantic hands. Welcome to the Alchemist's lab, where Ottoman rulers gambled their fortunes and perhaps their sanity on the promise of immortality. The sultans didn't just crave gold or power, they chased something far more elusive. Coded manuscripts recovered from this chamber revealed desperate attempts to unravel the secrets of the Philosopher's Stone, that mythical substance said to grant eternal life. But the scorch marks tell another story, one of trial, error, and catastrophic failure. Some of these stains aren't just from fire, they're layered with traces of mercury and arsenic, poisons that might have silenced unlucky experimenters before they could reveal their findings. What's most chilling, though, isn't the equipment or the toxins, it's the silence. Unlike royal workshops where scribes documented every detail, these experiments were shrouded in intentional mystery. The few decipherable notes are written in ciphers so complex that modern cryptographers still struggle to crack them. Were the alchemists protecting genuine discoveries, or were they weaving lies to keep their patrons funding a futile quest? One manuscript's margin holds a single, unnerving phrase: "The price of knowledge is measured in breaths." Perhaps the room itself is the real revelation. In a palace dripping with gold and jewels, this scorched, secret space reveals a deeper truth. Even the mightiest rulers feared the one enemy they couldn't conquer: time. And in their desperation, they left behind not elixirs, but echoes, a warning etched in soot and cipher about the limits of human ambition. In the heart of Hampton Court Palace, where Henry Roman VIII once strode through corridors thick with political intrigue, there's a chamber that holds more than just echoes, it holds secrets. Step into the Whispering Gallery, and you'll quickly realize something unsettling. Words spoken softly against one wall travel with eerie clarity to the opposite side, as if carried by invisible hands. This wasn't an architectural accident, it was a weapon. The Tudors didn't just build palaces, they crafted stages for power, and this gallery was their surveillance system. Imagine a courtier leaning casually against the wall, pretending to admire a tapestry while straining to catch the faintest murmur of treason from unseen lips nearby. The acoustics here were no accident, they were engineered, designed to turn whispers into weapons. Even today, historians debate whether Anne Boleyn's final, desperate pleas were overheard in this very space before her downfall. Some visitors swear her voice still lingers in the air, a spectral remnant of Tudor-era betrayals. What makes this room so fascinating isn't just its trick of physics, but what it reveals about the Tudor mindset. In an era where a single misspoken word could mean imprisonment or worse, walls didn't just divide spaces, they listened. Architects of the time mastered sound manipulation, curving plaster and positioning beams to amplify even the faintest conversations. This gallery wasn't just a room, it was a trap, proof that in Henry's court, privacy was an illusion reserved only for the king himself. Modern acousticians have studied the gallery's design, marveling at how precisely sound waves were harnessed without any of today's technology. But the deeper question remains, how many fates were sealed by words stolen from these walls? Every whisper carried here was a potential death sentence, a reminder that in the Game of Thrones, silence was the rarest luxury of all. Beneath the sun-drenched ruins of Nossos, where legends of the Minotaur once echoed through winding corridors, divers made a discovery that sent ripples through the world of archaeology. A submerged chamber, its walls alive with frescoes of charging bulls and sinuous sea creatures, lies hidden beneath the palace's foundations, not as a prison for mythical beasts, but as something far more intriguing. The water here isn't an accident of time. It's deliberate, a sacred pool reflecting the Minoans' deep reverence for the interplay of earth and ocean. The artwork tells a story older than the myths we know. Unlike the later Greek tales of a monstrous half-man, half-bull lurking in darkness, these frescoes celebrate the bull as a divine symbol, twisting and leaping alongside dolphins and octopuses in a vibrant underwater dance. Archaeologists suspect this chamber wasn't just decorative. Its strategic placement at the palace's lowest point hints at rituals where priests or rulers may have communed with deities of the deep. Imagine the flicker of oil lamps on water as offerings were cast into the pool, their ripples distorting the painted beasts below as if awakening them. What truly captivates scholars, though, is how this space challenges our understanding of Minoan beliefs. The bull-leaping frescoes of Nossos' upper halls glorify human mastery over nature, but here, beneath the surface, the imagery shifts, showing creatures of land and sea intertwined as equals. Was this a place of initiation where the elite underwent symbolic rebirth through water, or a cosmic map aligning the palace with the sacred rhythms of tides and stars? The answers may lie in the chamber's most haunting detail, a single, life-sized fresco of a goddess figure, her outstretched arms cradling a trident and a sheaf of wheat. To the Minoans, power wasn't just about dominance, it was about balance, and in this silent, sunken sanctuary, that philosophy still whispers through the waves. Beneath the stone battlements of She-Tau-Diff, where the Mediterranean waves crash against ancient walls, lies a pit so suffocatingly dark that even time seems to have abandoned it. This is no ordinary dungeon, it's an oubliette, a place whose very name comes from the French word oublier, meaning to forget, and that's precisely what happened here. Prisoners lowered into this cylindrical abyss weren't just imprisoned. They were erased, left to wither in a space barely wider than their own shoulders, with no light, no hope, and no record of their existence. The walls tell a silent, horrifying story. Centuries after the last prisoner perished, deep gouges still mar the stone, claw marks from fingers raw with desperation, as if the very rock could be torn apart through sheer will. Local legends whisper that some of those scratches belong to enemies of Edmond Dantès, the fictional Count of Monte Cristo, whose story immortalized the fortress's cruelty. But the truth is far grimmer than fiction. Historical records reveal that the oubliette wasn't reserved for common criminals. Nobles, political rivals, and anyone who threatened the crown's authority found themselves condemned to this living grave. Without trials or witnesses, they vanished into the void, their fates left to rumor. What's most chilling isn't just the brutality, it's the efficiency. The design ensured no guards were needed, no food wasted. the pit itself acted as both jailer and executioner. Even now, the air in the chamber hangs heavy, thick with the weight of untold suffering. Archaeologists have found fragments of bone and rusted shackles, but no inscriptions, no final words, just silence. It's a stark reminder that justice, in the hands of unchecked power, can become something monstrous. And as the sea wind howls through the fortress corridors, one can't help but wonder how many voices were swallowed by the darkness, and how many still linger unheard. Nestled within the austere walls of Spain's El Escorial, where monks once paced silent corridors in contemplation, there's a legend that refuses to fade, one not of gold or jewels but of knowledge. Behind layers of history and devotion, rumors persist of a hidden library, its shelves lined with manuscripts so rare, their very existence was once considered heresy. This wasn't just a collection of books, it was a vault of ideas, some deemed too dangerous for the outside world. The library's rumored contents read like a scholar's wildest dream: lost texts from ancient Greece and Rome, forbidden Islamic scientific treatises, even whispered accounts of pre-Columbian Americas recorded by early explorers. But what makes this chamber so extraordinary isn't just what might be inside, it's why it was hidden. During the Spanish Inquisition, possession of certain texts could mean death, and some believe the monks of El Escorial became secret guardians of banned knowledge, preserving it in shadow until safer times. Modern researchers have found tantalizing clues, anomalies in the palace's blueprints, references in centuries-old letters to a golden room beneath the scriptorium. Yet the full truth remains elusive. Some speculate the Vatican or Spanish royalty still controls access, while others argue the library was dismantled long ago, its treasures scattered. But one detail keeps hope alive. A handful of surviving manuscripts from El Escorial contain marginal notes referencing the sister collection, as if the authors knew their work was part of something far larger. The real mystery here isn't just whether these lost texts exist, it's what their discovery could mean. Imagine uncovering a forgotten dialogue of Aristotle or an alternate version of a sacred text, pieces of history that might reshape our understanding of philosophy, science, or faith. The monks of El Escorial may have built more than a refuge for knowledge. They could have left behind a puzzle, waiting for the right moment to reveal its secrets. And if that moment ever comes, the echoes of the past might just rewrite the future. High above the Vieltova River, where Prague Castle spires pierce the sky, there's a place where history doesn't just whisper, it screams. Descend into the bowels of the Dalyborka Tower, and the air grows thick with something more than damp stone. This wasn't just a dungeon, it was a purgatory for the privileged, a gilded cage where nobility traded their titles for torment. The tower's upper chambers tell a sanitized story, exhibits display rusted keys and manacles under museum lighting. But venture deeper where the stairwell narrows to a crawl and the reality becomes visceral. Records describe noble prisoners like Baron Borita, left in a cell so cramped he could neither stand nor lie flat. His only company, the occasional shaft of light from a slit high above, just enough to remind him of the world he'd lost. What chills the bones, though, isn't just the cruelty, it's the silence. Unlike common prisons filled with the clamor of inmates, Dalyborka's lower levels were designed to amplify isolation. The masonry absorbs sound, turning even whimpers into hollow echoes. Locals swear the tower's foundations still resonate with phantom wails, particularly near the infamous Hunger Wall, where some claim prisoners were entombed alive behind hastily laid bricks. Archaeologists hesitate to excavate, fearing structural collapse, or perhaps something less tangible. Some accounts mention a hidden sub-chamber beneath the lowest vault, referenced in 16th century jailer logs as the Well of Regrets. Was this where interrogators extracted final confessions, a dumping ground for those who disappeared without trial? the truth may lie buried under centuries of rubble and superstition. What lingers most isn't the horror, but the irony. These cells weren't built for thieves or murderers, they were reserved for society's elite, a stark reminder that in the eyes of power, privilege was never a shield. Only a slower, darker fall. Deep within the crumbling grandeur of Mandalay Palace, where golden spires once glittered above the Irrawaddy River, a legend persists, one carved not in stone but in translucent green jade. Locals speak in hushed tones of the Adana Zedi, a hidden chamber said to be entirely paneled with the sacred stone, its walls pulsing like the heart of a living dragon. But this wasn't just a treasury, it was a fortress of the spirit world. According to Burmese folklore, the Konbaung dynasty's rulers didn't just hoard wealth here, they imprisoned it. Jade, believed to repel malevolent forces, formed a physical barrier against curses and rival sorcerers. Yet what truly captivates historians are the whispers of a final, desperate act. When British forces stormed the palace in 1885, servants claimed the royal family emptied their most sacred relics into the chamber before sealing it with a labyrinth of false corridors. Satellite scans have since detected anomalous voids in the palace's foundation, but every excavation has hit a literal wall, baffling layers of brickwork that defy modern ground-penetrating radar. The mystery deepens with each passing decade. In 2008, a construction crew renovating the palace's eastern wing uncovered a narrow shaft lined with jade fragments, only for work to be abruptly halted by authorities. Were they protecting a national treasure or something far stranger? Some scholars point to ancient texts describing the chamber's breathing walls, a poetic nod to hidden ventilation shafts or a clue to something more esoteric. Unlike other lost treasures, the Adana Zedi isn't just about gold or gemstones. It represents a last stand of cultural memory, a vault where history and mythology collide. Until someone solves the palace's architectural puzzle, the truth remains locked away, perhaps exactly as the Konbaung kings intended. Beneath the crumbling columns of Delphi's Temple of Apollo, where ancient seekers once trembled before the Pythia's cryptic prophecies, modern science has uncovered a startling truth. For centuries, historians dismissed tales of intoxicating vapors rising from a hidden chamber as mere myth until geologists discovered something extraordinary. Fissures in the bedrock beneath the temple's foundation still emit traces of ethylene, a sweet-smelling gas known to induce euphoria, hallucinations, and trance-like states. Suddenly, the oracle's frenzied whispers take on a new, unsettling dimension. The layout of the temple itself hints at a carefully staged ritual. Pilgrims would descend into an enclosed space called the Aditon, where the Pythia, perched over a fissure on her tripod, breathed in those otherworldly fumes. Ancient accounts describe her convulsions, her incoherent cries, symptoms eerily consistent with low-dose ethylene exposure. But here's where the mystery twists. While the gas explains her altered state, it doesn't diminish the uncanny accuracy of many Delphic prophecies. How did a dizzy priestess high on vapors predict political victories and natural disasters with startling precision? Some scholars argue the priesthood at Delphi were masterful interpreters, weaving the Pythia's fragmented utterances into ambiguous predictions that could be molded to later events. Others speculate the temple's location wasn't just geological luck, it sat at the crossroads of trade routes, giving priests access to intelligence networks spanning the Mediterranean. The real genius of Delphi might lie in this duality, part chemical spectacle, part psychological theater, all designed to consolidate the temple's power as the spiritual heart of the ancient world. Yet one haunting question lingers. If the prophecies were merely gas and guile, why did so many rulers from Croesus to Alexander risk fortunes and kingdoms on the oracle's words? Perhaps the answer lies in humanity's timeless longing for certainty in an uncertain world. The Pythia's chamber wasn't just a venue for hallucinations, it was a mirror reflecting the fears and hopes of everyone who stepped into its shadowy embrace. And in that sense, her prophecies, chemical or not, still resonate today. Deep beneath the manicured lawns of Windsor Castle, where generations of British monarchs rest in ornate tombs, there's a secret that even the stone walls seem reluctant to reveal. Behind an unmarked door, protected by layers of steel and silence, lies a chamber unlike any other, not for the dead, but for the truths considered too volatile for the living. This is the legendary Iron Vault, a Cold War-era stronghold rumored to contain documents that could rewrite royal history. Whistleblowers claim the vault safeguards far more than mundane state papers. Leaked memos describe genealogical records with explosive implications, illegitimate bloodlines, suppressed claims to the throne, even whispers of wartime pacts that might still unsettle modern alliances. But what makes this chamber extraordinary isn't just its contents, it's the level of security surrounding it. Unlike the castle's public archives, this space allegedly requires approval from 3 senior royals and the Prime Minister just to enter, a protocol last used during the abdication crisis of 1936. Historians remain divided on what the vault truly protects. Some argue it houses fragile pre-conquest manuscripts proving ancient Saxon lineages. Others point to 20th century files referencing the Windsor Mountbatten name change, a sensitive topic tied to royal identity and public perception. The most tantalizing theory that it contains evidence of shadow heirs, descendants from morganatic marriages who were quietly paid to renounce their claims. An open secret among European nobility, but one Britain has never acknowledged. The Crown's silence only amplifies the mystery. While Buckingham Palace dismisses the rumors as fantasy, former staffers tell a different story of midnight document transfers, of archivists sworn to lifetime secrecy, of one alarming incident in 1983 when a fire suppression system activated without warning, flooding the vault's antechamber within minutes. Coincidence or security measure, without official confirmation, the Iron Vault remains history's most tantalizing. What if a reminder that some truths once buried are never meant to see daylight? What lingers isn't just curiosity about hidden papers, but the quiet realization that history isn't always a record. Sometimes it's a negotiation. And in Windsor's shadows, that negotiation has walls 2 feet thick. Tucked away in the gilded halls of Peterhof Palace, Russia's answer to Versailles, there's a room that defies explanation. The walls still gleam with playful frescoes of fairies and forests, the parquet floor worn smooth by tiny slippers from another age. This was the Imperial nursery, a sanctuary for the Tsar's children, where toys once lay scattered and laughter echoed off the ceilings. But today, the laughter hasn't stopped. Guides and visitors alike swear they've heard it, the unmistakable sound of children giggling, the faint tinkling of a music box, even the rhythmic creak of a rocking horse in motion. Yet the room has been sealed since the 18th century, its furnishings preserved under dust cloths like a scene frozen in time. Scientists have scrambled to debunk the phenomenon, testing for drafts, hidden acoustics, or vibrations from nearby foot traffic. But the recordings tell a different story, disembodied voices that rise and fall with eerie clarity, always just out of reach. Historical records add another layer to the mystery. This wasn't just any nursery, it belonged to Peter the Great's youngest daughter, Natalia, who died tragically at just 6 years old. Some say her grief-stricken father ordered the room preserved exactly as she left it, down to the half-finished embroidery on a tiny chair. Others whisper that the Tsar's court alchemist, obsessed with immortality, conducted forbidden experiments here, binding souls to objects in a desperate bid to cheat death. What makes these hauntings so unsettling isn't just the sounds, it's the warmth that lingers in the air, as if the room refuses to accept the passage of time. Psychologists suggest it could be a case of collective suggestion, where the sheer weight of history primes visitors to hear the past. But palace staff tell darker stories of clocks that start themselves, of dolls found facing different directions overnight. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere between memory and longing. In a palace built to showcase power, this sealed chamber serves as a quiet rebellion, a reminder that even emperors couldn't protect what mattered most. And whether the laughter is a trick of the wind or something more, one thing is certain. In Peter Hoff's ghostly nursery, the past isn't just remembered. It lingers beneath the towering spires of Angkor Wat, where dawn paints the ancient stones in hues of gold and shadow. Modern technology has peeled back a layer of myth to reveal something astonishing. Recent laser scans pierced the temple's foundations, exposing a sealed chamber no eye had seen in centuries, a space so deliberately concealed. Its entrance is flanked by sinuous Naga serpents, their stone coils poised as if warning intruders to turn back. This isn't just another crypt, it's a riddle carved in sandstone, one that could unravel the secrets of Cambodia's god-kings. Local lore speaks of this chamber as the Serpent's Tomb, a resting place for the ashes of rulers who blurred the line between mortal and divine. Archaeologists, though, are divided. The chamber's alignment matches descriptions of sacred spaces where Khmer emperors performed rituals to harness celestial power. But the Nagas tell another story. These serpent deities weren't just protectors, they were symbols of transition between worlds. Could this chamber be a gateway rather than a grave? The mystery deepens with whispers of a curse. Villagers near Angkor recount generations of warnings. Disturbing the Naga's domain invites calamity. Skeptics dismiss it as superstition, yet even scientists tread carefully. When researchers first probed the chamber's dimensions, equipment inexplicably failed, and local workers refused to continue. Coincidence, perhaps, but history offers eerie parallels. Inscriptions found elsewhere in the temple describe ancient priests sealing away that which must not be awakened, hinting at a truth too volatile for the uninitiated. What makes this discovery so electrifying isn't just the chamber's contents, it's what it reveals about Angkor's rise and fall. If the ashes inside belonged to a ruler like Suryavarman II, the temple's builder, genetic analysis could trace lineage back to dynasties thought lost. Alternatively, if the space holds ritual objects or even evidence of astronomical observation, it could prove the Khmer Empire's sophistication rivaled the greatest civilizations of its time. For now, the chamber remains sealed, its secrets guarded by Nagas and time. But one truth is already clear: Angkor Wat was never just a temple. It was a vessel for the divine, a bridge between Earth and cosmos, and beneath its stones, history still breathed. Behind the intricate mosaics of the Alhambra's grand halls, where sunlight still dances across centuries-old geometric patterns, a hidden passage conceals a trove of blades frozen in time. When conservators stumbled upon this forgotten armory, they found more than just weapons. They uncovered a silent testament to the final, desperate moments of Moorish rule in Spain. Each scimitar and dagger lay exactly where it had been placed over 500 years ago, as if waiting for a battle that never came. The craftsmanship alone tells a story. Curved blades forged from Damascus steel glint faintly under layers of dust, their edges still sharp enough to draw blood. But it's the inscription's delicate Arabic calligraphy etched into the metal that reveal the true weight of this discovery. Phrases like victory or paradise and trust in the all-merciful weren't mere decorations. They were prayers forged into steel by warriors facing an uncertain fate. Historians now believe these weapons belonged to the Sultan's personal guard, men who swore to defend Granada to the last breath. So why abandon such precious arms? The answer may lie in the chaotic final days of the Reconquista. As Christian forces closed in, the Nasrid rulers likely prioritized escape over confrontation, leaving behind anything that couldn't be carried swiftly. Yet the sheer quantity of blades suggests another possibility, that this was a deliberate act of defiance. By sealing the armory behind a false wall, the Moors may have hoped to deny their enemies the spoils of war, preserving their legacy even in defeat. The real intrigue, though, lies in what wasn't found. No armor, no helmets, just blades. Were the rest looted long ago, or does this chamber hint at a larger network of hidden caches? Modern scans reveal anomalies in surrounding walls, sparking debates about whether this armory is truly the last of its kind. One thing is certain: in a palace celebrated for its beauty, these forgotten weapons are a stark reminder that even paradise had its protectors, and they left their mark not in stone but in steel. Beneath the honey-colored domes of Jaipur's Jantar Mantar, where colossal stone instruments stretch toward the sky like frozen giants, lies a secret far older than the palace itself. Descend into a vault hidden beneath the Samrat Yantra, the world's largest sundial, and you'll find walls carved with constellations so precise they mirror the night sky as it appeared centuries ago. This wasn't just a storage room for star charts. The angles of its arched ceiling align perfectly with solstices, and narrow shafts funnel beams of sunlight to illuminate specific carvings only during eclipses. Every inch of this space feels like a conversation with the cosmos. What's truly remarkable isn't just the chamber's existence, but why the Rajput rulers built it in plain sight yet concealed its full purpose. The brass astrolabes and marble quadrants scattered across the palace courtyard were public displays of imperial intellect, but this underground vault. Here, the Rogers and their astronomers did work too sensitive for prying eyes. The mathematical precision etched into its walls suggests they weren't merely tracking celestial movements. They were predicting them with uncanny accuracy, using calculations that rivaled European observatories of the same era. Some inscriptions even reference planetary positions decades in advance, knowledge that would have been tantamount to wielding divine foresight. Yet the vault's design raises an even bigger question. Alongside the scientific carvings are symbols of the Hindu god Vishnu, reclining on the cosmic serpent Ananta. This fusion of astronomy and theology hints at a deeper belief that the chamber wasn't just a tool for measurement, but a bridge between earthly rulers and celestial order. Local legends speak of midnight rituals where Rogers would stand beneath a central oculus as moonlight bathed a carved nakshatra wheel, aligning their reigns with the heavens themselves. Modern researchers still debate the vault's true function. Was it a groundbreaking scientific laboratory shrouded in mysticism for political control, or evidence of a lost philosophy that saw no divide between science and the sacred? One clue lingers in the dust: a single, weathered manuscript found tucked into a niche, its pages whispering of a time when kings didn't just rule lands but danced with the trajectories of planets. In Jaipur's celestial vault, the stars weren't just observed, they were consulted. And perhaps in the shadows of those silent calculations, history's next great revelation still waits. In the dreamlike spires of Neuschwanstein, Germany's story book castle where turrets pierce the alpine sky, there's a room that feels plucked from a Gothic novel. Unlike the rest of the palace, dripping with gold-leafed frescoes of knights and dragons, this chamber swallows light whole. Black silk drapes every surface from floor to vaulted ceiling, muffling sound and smothering even the faintest glimmer of candlelight. No windows, no mirrors, just an oppressive darkness that seems to pulse with the weight of its creator's mind. This was King Ludwig II's private sanctum, a velvet-lined cocoon where reality blurred with fantasy. The eccentric monarch, who famously bankrupted Bavaria building castles worthy of medieval legends, didn't retreat here for pleasure. Historians note the room's chilling resemblance to the Venusberg cavern from Wagner's opera Tannhäuser, a mythical underworld of forbidden longing. Ludwig, obsessed with the composer's music, reportedly spent nights here whispering to imagined specters of Wagner's characters, as if conjuring them from the shadows. But was this artistic devotion or something more unsettling? Court physicians later cited the chamber as evidence of his deteriorating mental state, a physical manifestation of his retreat from a world that refused to indulge his fantasies. Yet the Black Chamber isn't just a tale of madness. Its very construction reveals a cunning precision. The silk wasn't merely decorative. Its density created a vacuum of silence, sealing out the voices of advisors demanding fiscal responsibility or political engagement. Even the temperature was controlled cool enough to simulate the alpine caves Ludwig adored. In this room, the king wasn't a ruler. He was the protagonist of his own tragic opera, spinning delusions of divine right and artistic destiny while his kingdom frayed at the edges. Modern conservators discovered something haunting when restoring the space. Faint pencil markings hidden beneath the fabric, lines of poetry and musical notation scratched into the walls by Ludwig himself. The words are often illegible, eroded by time, but their presence speaks volumes. This wasn't just a retreat, it was a confession scrawled in secret, a monarch's admission that even castles built to escape the world couldn't keep loneliness at bay. Neuschwanstein's soaring halls draw millions seeking fairy tales, but the Black Chamber offers a darker truth. Every paradise has its shadows, and even the grandest dreams can become prisons. Ludwig's silk-draped solitude reminds us that obsession, unchecked, doesn't build kingdoms, it entombs them. From the serpent-guarded vaults of Angkor Wat to the velvet darkness of Ludwig's Black Chamber, one truth echoes through the centuries. Palaces were never just homes for the powerful, they were stages for secrets. What we've uncovered today isn't merely a collection of hidden rooms. It's a testament to the lengths rulers would go to protect their treasures, their truths, and sometimes their sanity. Whether designed for survival, like Cleopatra's submerged passageways, or forged from obsession, like the Alchemist's poisoned workshop, each chamber whispers a different story about the fragility of power and the ingenuity of those who wielded it. These spaces challenge us to rethink history as something alive, still breathing beneath layers of dust and legend. The fact that discoveries like Windsor's Iron Vault or Escorial's Phantom Library still evade full understanding proves that the past isn't a closed book. It's a puzzle with missing pieces, daring us to look closer. And while we may never know every secret buried in these walls, each revelation chips away at the myths, bringing us face to face with the humans behind the crowns. So tell us, which chamber left you spellbound? Was it the haunting nursery of Peterhof, where laughter defies time, or Delphi's gas-choked oracle room, where science and superstition collided? Drop your favorites in the comments and let's keep the conversation alive. If you've enjoyed this dive into history's shadows, hit subscribe and join us for the next adventure. Because somewhere out there, another hidden door is waiting to creak open, and who better to walk through it together than curious minds like yours. Until then, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, the greatest stories aren't always in the light. They're tucked just out of sight, waiting for the right moment to emerge.